Hello, mi gente. I'm content creator Kesquillon, and this is All the Juice, the podcast where I interview content creators and influencers to learn about their careers, their challenges, and their juicy secrets. Today at All the Juice, we have a Finnish musician who has studied in the Royal College of Music in London and who has worked internationally as a songwriter, string producer, and violinist. He's also a content creator, gathering over 200,000 followers across platforms. He is Pekka Niemi, aka I Am One Violin in social media. Thank you for being here today. It's very nice, and I'm very excited to learn about your story and all the stuff surrounding your career.
Thanks for inviting.
Yes.
Fun to be here.
So what are we drinking today?
It's blueberry juice. That's my favorite, you asked. I think the best one, I don't know if this one's that, but the best one is when you fly with Finnair. You know, the few perks that you get nowadays with them is the blueberry juice.
Yes. I was actually going to ask you when during the podcast because I
This is
always
good, by the
get
way.
it. Oh, thank you. Well, it's from Co-Market, so you can get it anytime. I can show you later. But yes, I love getting it when I'm flying with Finnair. I think like it's a very nice touch. But I've never tried this before being in Finland.
Really? Yeah, blueberries are sort of quite Finnish thing. So
Have you ever been picking blueberries in the forest?
many times, not that many times anymore, but like when I was a kid, we used to go picking up all kinds of berries in the forest. I'm actually from the west coast of Finland in Vaasa, so around there we went with my grandma many times to pick up berries.
That's very nice. So I wanted to ask you, how do you start in music? Because I've seen in social media that you do all those covers, playing the violin, but when do you start?
Well, music goes back to when I was just turning 5 years old. My mom, like I have to thank my mom because she's the one that put me on violin lessons. It was the summer when I was turning 5, and that's since I've been playing violin. First it was only classical. I studied all the way up to college. It was all classical, and then since graduating I was like, yeah, classical is not what I want to do for the next 30 years, but rather maybe combine all the background I had with violin and then the love and passion for pop music, and then there came One Violin from. So yeah,
That's very nice. So why violin? Like you were 5 years old. Where does the choice come from?
it's my mom who put me to the lessons. She's told me that because she used to play piano and flute while growing up, and when she was studying, she didn't study music. She's a dentist, but they had sort of like a big band when she was studying, and she was playing the flute then, and she told that because when she gets nervous, it's affecting like the way you breathe, like because it's very personal on when you get nervous, like how it affects your body.
Yeah.
And then when she was picking up the instrument for me, and actually my sister, she also plays the violin, she thought that it has to be something else than a wind instrument, but definitely an instrument that you can play in an orchestra, because she said that playing together was the best thing that she had done, especially because she used to play the piano as well, so you know that's pretty much a solo instrument. So then I think that's why it became a string instrument, and then purely for logistical reasons it became violin rather than a cello or a double bass, because it's just so much easier.
Or horrible to carry them around.
Exactly. And now, especially when I've been fortunate enough to travel a bit with the violin, it's way cheaper, because if you have a cello, then you have to always buy an extra seat. So then violin is very, very nice in that sense, that it's just like you put it in your back and
it's like your personal bag, and then you don't have to. That's
so
very nice. I've also studied music. When I was young, I started to play the piano from a very young age. I was 4 or 5 years old, and then when I went to the conservatoire in Spain, I couldn't get into piano, so I started playing the violin for 2 years.
Okay.
And oh my god, it was not my thing. I can tell you, like I was definitely more comfortable with piano than with violin, because I feel like it requires a lot of like practice to, especially at the beginning, to understand the mobility of the hands and just like how to move the arc and so on. So it was a hassle for me.
It's all about muscle memory. yeah, compared to guitars where you have frets or piano where you have, you know, the keys,
Yeah.
and you know, even though you're practicing, you're playing in tune, but violin not so much. So you know, it's especially the first years, it's really it requires a lot of nerves, and especially I again have to thank my mom, because
Yeah.
you know, she was there every single time I was practicing next to me.
Did you go, like you were living in next to Vasa, as you said, did you go to a conservatoire there, or did you move to Helsinki to study music?
When I started, I was just in the local music school. Well, like once I was finishing high school, I knew that I wanted to study music, and because I was in international baccalaureate IB high school, so it was in English. So then I knew that I would want to study abroad. I had options, or like where I wanted to go was London, or like UK, Austria and Germany. And then just because the application period for UK was the first, and I got in, I was like, yeah, that's where I'm going.
So during these 4 years, what were the things that you were studying in the school? For someone who's never been in a like conservatoire, what do you study there?
Most of the time you're pretty much just practicing on your own.
Yeah.
Like that's actually what made up most of the days. I used to practice 5 to 6 hours a day, and then on top of that we had usually one solo violin lesson a week, about 1.5 hours, then one group violin lesson with my teacher, so that was like every second, every third week, and then like your co-students were listening. And then we had also like even larger, like the whole violin department, we had like group lessons, which were the worst, by the way, because there's nothing more nerve-wracking than playing in front of your co-students, like because they're doing the exact same thing. Like everyone were so nice, like there was no reason to think that, you know, that would be bad, but that's just like the most nerve-wracking, because like everybody is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And then
it's easy to compare and like just...
Well, and you think that everyone is sort of like comparing and judging you, even though they are not.
Yeah.
At least not in UK, maybe in US, but like not in the UK. But yeah, so those lessons, and then on top of that, we had a lot of orchestra. That wasn't like consistent from week to week, because it was like every term, there were 3 terms, so every term you had like maybe 4 projects. So that would be like 1 week of intense orchestra, where you would have orchestra rehearsals for 6 hours a day.
Wow.
Ending
it's a lot of time.
Yeah, and then like adding that 6 hours of orchestra rehearsals, and then your 5 hours of personal, you know, those hours really start to feel in your body. And then of course like music theory, those lessons a few times a week, but mostly playing some more.
Yeah. So did you enjoy more playing or the whole music theory side?
Playing always. Like I've hated music theory.
I think for me it was quite the opposite. I like it a lot playing the piano, but again we didn't have orchestra. We didn't have, like sometimes we did have in some courses, because I was in the conservatoire like for 6 years doing like a professional level. It's not college level, that would be like the superior as we call it in Spain.
Okay.
But during the professional I had some 2 hands or like 4 hands piano lessons, so it would be with another person just playing a piece. That was nice, but piano is such a like solo instrument, you know, that you spend a lot of time alone. We didn't have the orchestra. And then harmony classes, I love them. I don't know, I find it so funny just to analyzing all the pieces and finding I don't know, it was very fun.
Maybe it was so advanced because I was just like losing my mind.
Yeah,
in
can
the
imagine.
classes. So yeah, I was super happy because we had them only the first 2 years, and then the second 2 years we had optional courses that we could choose ourselves, and I had music production and conducting, so like orchestra conducting. Those were super nice.
Did you like conducting?
Yeah, and then that is something that you actually then really need the music theory, because you can't do it otherwise. But yeah, those ones were super cool.
So when you finish the 4 years, then what happens in your life?
Then I moved back to Finland and I did my military service. At first I did the conscript band, so I was doing music, and then I ended up going to officer school like after that, so then it was actually just a bit over a year. So.
Okay. Oh, well, was a good experience for you?
Yeah, we had a really good group, 7 guys from the like conscript band that ended up in the officer school, and we're still spent time together. We're just now having a sauna night in 2 weeks again, so
that's very nice.
Yeah.
A very typical Finnish thing to do too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, all the main decisions and all important conversations and everything generally important happens in the sauna. Yeah.
That's literally a very Finnish thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's, when you're naked, not like butt naked there, you just open up and then, you make all the important like conversations and decisions. So I don't know.
So when I was introducing you in the podcast, there's a part where I'm saying like, yeah, he's a songwriter, string producer, and violinist. Please tell us more about your songwriting experiences and what is string producer?
Well, songwriting I did because like I've been playing in bands ever since being a kid as well. Like I've always been into pop music and rock music, so I've been having bands that of course involves writing your own songs. And then once I finished college and I was doing the military service, at the same time I was doing a lot of songwriting sessions and writing songs for other artists. So that's there for that. And then string producer, I just like to add the string there in the front, because like I do work as a producer as well, like music producer, but I specialize in doing string arrangements. And then what I offer to other producers is that they just send me a track, they say that we want some violin on it or strings on it, and then I do the arrangement, I do the recording and editing of the strings, and then I just send them the stems. So that's sort of what it means. So I produce the string parts for other people's releases occasionally as well.
What is your favorite string production that you have done?
My favorite one is actually something that hasn't been released, because I did it for a live production for a Finnish artist called View. He was doing a gig in Flow Festival, I think 2018, and I did some string productions for him. We played them live as well, and there's a song called Tripping Sober, and that was the first one of the songs that I did. If you listen to it like the original version, it doesn't sound something that would be good or combined with like string music at all, but then it just ended up being a banger.
And I mean, it shows in your face. You are just like smiling so much while explaining it.
Yeah, because that's also what I love the most, both doing one violin stuff and then just anything else, that you break boundaries. Like you do something that someone would originally think that this would never happen, or this is something that doesn't work, and then you prove them wrong, and it just makes it so much better.
Yeah. So I've seen that you've been in Got Talent.
Yeah, Finland's Got Talent.
So it was in 2020, right?
Yeah, the year, when everything went to shits.
Yes. Well, was not the best year for anyone. The world went a bit fucked. But yeah, tell us, like, how was the experience? Why do you decide to go to Got Talent Finland?
Well, I actually saw the ad on TV, and I was like, yeah, that's actually something that would maybe like I could benefit from, and that like sort of my concept would work, because there's like a million different song contests that you can go, Idols and X Factor and so many, but then that's pretty much the only one that I could see like my concept work in. And then I was like, yeah, I'll just apply, and then did a few auditions, and then the producers liked it there and the audience liked it as well in the end. So yeah, it was a long process, because it started early on 2019. Then I did the first TV videos somewhere in the end of 2019, and then the day that I had the first live TV show, which was the semifinals, was the same day as everything went to lockdown. So like we had some spare tickets that we could give to friends and family to come to see the show, and then one day before they say that it's actually going to be shot in front of like a empty audience, just the judges. So it was a bit unfortunate, and also because I had thought that my gig calendar would be like just filled with performances afterwards, but Yeah, well, I think in 2 days I had 70 shows that got cancelled.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's
But
so
yeah, of course, like
unfortunate.
it was the same for anyone in the business. So
Yeah.
I'm not, but it was just a bit unfortunate because I sort of saw that would have been like a really, really massive boost.
So what happens after Got Talent? What do you do?
I think that was because then obviously the whole country was in lockdown. I was fortunate enough to do a few virtual gigs. I was quite active early on to contact people who were doing studio work or like the studio productions for virtual events and everything. So I got a few of those gigs, but then I was just trying to focus all my energy into social media because then I wanted that when we can do gigs again afterwards, then I would hopefully have a few people who are interested to come listen to me. So then, yeah, pretty much all 2020 and 2021 I was doing social media.
How do you choose the covers that you're gonna film for TikTok and Instagram and YouTube?
Well, Spotify plays a big role. Like if something is peaking in the charts, then you have to make a cover of those.
Yeah.
Then if I see that something's going viral, especially in TikTok, I try to do a cover of it. And then just of course the subjective, if I really like a song, I'll make a cover of it because I get to decide.
Yeah.
And then for longer productions like the ones that I make music videos of and the ones that I'm using on my live gigs, those ones I then place more value on the radio airplay, because in Finland when you do gigs, if a song plays in the radio, everyone's gonna know it.
What is the favorite cover that you've done so far?
Blinding Lights, by far. Like every single still, like I think I've played it the most on any of my gigs, and it was like a funny experience. Like I was doing a corporate event that had the same crew that we had been working with for like many events the same year, and I was doing my sound check and I was using Blinding Lights for the sound checks because I usually do that, and then the stage manager was just laughing that oh, this is a new song, I've never heard this before, because like it was a sarcasm, because like I had been playing it on every single gig that I've been doing. But yeah, I like that. But it also works on gigs. That's why I'm not just playing it because I like it, but because it's actually working on gigs.
Yeah. What is the kind of gig that you love the most doing?
Festivals, that's of course the best, because people are usually in a happy mood. Alcohol might have an influence in there, but I don't know. Finnish summer, you take a summer day and you're playing for hopefully thousands of people, and they recognize the song. That's definitely the thing that I love the most. But then other ones also like doing concert hall or club gigs. They are also nice because it's sort of like an intimate feeling. But yeah, all gigs, I love all gigs. Festivals are maybe the best.
And if I could ask you for a country where you've performed, which one would you say has been your favorite
country?
Yes.
Well, I just did a gig in Maldives 3 days ago, so that was really nice. It was sort of like a festival type thing. There was a hotel that had an anniversary party, and they built a stage on top of a pool, and there was a lot of acts, and like people were in the pool and like all around. So I think nice. that was quite epic. Because also like if you look up Maldives and you know how it looks like, with the white sand and the turquoise water, it's just like it's a paradise. Yeah. Every time you go there, it's just like, is this real? So I think that would go maybe number one, or maybe number two, because the Finnish summer is something quite magical as well. So
yeah, I bet it was very nice just to go to Maldives now that it's getting darker and colder in Finland, and they're just like paradise time.
Yeah, I was just we did a video together with some guys there, and I was just sending them some pictures of the gray colors of Finland this time of the year, and they were just laughing that you should come back.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah.
So how do you land gigs like that? Like, you're going to Maldives. What the heck?
A lot of work. Yeah.
But do they usually contact you, or you also send samples to different places in different countries?
Not like basically that it's all me, like, you know, bombing everyone with emails. Like I did that, especially 2020. Like I was sending probably like 100 emails a day to all places, trying to get collaborations or gigs or whatever. So yeah, that's where most of my contacts I've landed. Like of course, when you say send 100 emails, 95 of them will never reply. Then 4 says no, 1 says maybe,
yes.
And then, you know, sometimes that maybe turns into a yes, and then usually not. But then, you know, the more you send the emails, the more likely, because, you know, like Wayne Gretzky said that you will miss 100% of all the shots that you don't take. So, you know, and then once you've done that sort of boring work, then you start to get in the lucky position that if you do your work well, then you get invited again. Like I was there in the Maldives 1 year ago. I apparently did a good job, and then they asked me now to go there again. So first work I've done myself, so just sending a million emails, trying to convince everyone that, you know, they should hire me or collaborate with me or whatever.
I mean, you have to get yourself out, so it makes total sense that you are sending emails.
When you start out, no one's going to be getting you
exactly.
from your bedroom. So, you know, you have to push and do all the possible work. And also, like, afterwards, like, even though you would then have a team, management or whatever, who trusts you and are working for you, it shouldn't be that way that they are working for you, but rather that they are working with you. Because when you're an artist or whatever creator, everything flows from inside you. So, you know, you have to be the source of everything, and then everything around you is sort of just amplifying it. But, you know, the main energy needs to come from you always. So
that's very inspiring. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Yeah. Well, I hope that, you know, if there's anyone there who's sort of struggling, they just need to understand that, you know, everyone's been there. There's no quick path. You have to put in the hours, and once you do that, you know, eventually it will work.
And that's true. We all start in the same place with having no followers, no community, no gigs, no collaborations, nothing. And as you say, you just need to do the work and build it for yourself, because nobody's going to build it for you. Yeah,
someone might say that, you know, other people get lucky, but I have sort of the idea that luck follows hard work. You know, put in the hours, and then, you know, don't just expect that everything's going to be happening for you.
And taking the chance, because there's so many people that want to do something and they are just scared. Like myself, it took me almost a year to produce this podcast. I wanted to do it for so long, but I was just like, oh, but what if? And then you are never ready to do it. You just need to sit one day, just talk to yourself and say like, okay, I'm gonna do it now.
Exactly.
And then it's when you're gonna see, as long as you have fun, as long as you put hard work on it, then you should be happy with yourself. If it works, perfect. If it doesn't, well, as you said, you don't get anything if you don't try it.
Exactly.
So what has been the biggest challenge that you face in your career?
I wouldn't say that there's like one big challenge that I've had to face, but rather like multiple small ones. If a door closes in front of you, there's another one that's going to be opening up. I think having a mindset that, you know, trying to be optimistic every day, that's just how you go forward. And rather than thinking that there are, you know, challenges, just try to think them as, I don't know, opportunities to get better. I don't know.
So now, as you know, one of the sections of the podcast is answering some questions from your followers and from people online in general.
Yeah.
So if you are ready, I'm gonna go through them.
Okay. Let's see.
Let's see what we have. How much does your violin cost?
Well, I have multiple violins.
Oh, wow.
The cheapest one is $20.
Okay.
Yeah, or 20 euros, whatever currency. But like, that's what I use for when I do the photo shoots and videos.
Okay.
Then the main one I use for gigs is around 1,000, 2,000 euros. So relatively cheap when you compare it to violin prices. But I've liked them. Generously sponsored by Soitin Line. And then my main instrument that I use for studio is around 15,000.
15,000. Wow.
And that's still on the lower range.
Wow.
The most expensive violin that I've got to play with was 10 million pounds. So
What?
that's like 12 million euros or something.
Where did you have the chance to...
In college, there was
wow.
a like violin maker / collector who brought in a Stradivari and a Guarneri, both averaging a price of like 10 million. He didn't say the exact price, but like they just sold a Guarneri with I think 18 million pounds. So that they are like, that was the first time I was ever having shaky hands when holding a violin.
Just like what if it just falls and breaks, you know?
Yeah. How am I ever gonna be paying this back?
You will need like 7 lives to pay.
Yeah, or just super lucky with the lottery, but...
Yeah. So someone was asking, what is the video that took you the longest to make?
Well, maybe the ones that I'm still working on. Like I shot a video in June it's still unedited, so I would maybe say that. Otherwise, the video productions are usually fairly quick. The time that's taking the most is me producing the track, which takes around 3 to 4 weeks. And the longest one was, I think, Keinutaan by Antti Tuisku, because it has so many different parts and so many different like elements to it that getting it right, that took the most time, because I really wanted to make a good job and not like cut any corners, but do it like properly. So I think that took the most time, like audio production wise. But yeah, video production wise, probably the one that we shot in June and I'm still not edited. It will come at some point.
It will come.
Yeah.
Well, please let us know when it comes. It's like, this is the video. Why did you choose One Violin as your name, artist name?
I had a few options. I can't remember what the options were, but because I knew at that point that the concept was going to be making covers with sounds produced with just one violin, and I wanted it to sort of be reflective in the name. So I think One Violin, it explains in some sense what I'm doing already, that I'm just using one violin for everything that I do.
So next question, what is the biggest crowd you've performed in front of?
30,000.
30,000?
Yeah, but they didn't come to listen to me. That was with JVG in Ruisrock.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know, around 30,000, because I think they sold 35,000 tickets for the day, and they were the main act. So I would roughly say 30,000.
Okay, well, you were playing and they were listening, so hey, it's also your audience, you know? So moving to a bit more of a personal side, do you have any hobbies rather than music?
Sports, like I do. Well, I'm a super competitive person. My friends will know that. So anything that you can compete in, I'm up for it. But especially like ball games and ice hockey. I play ice hockey, floorball, football, Finnish baseball. So yeah, sports for sure.
That's your thing.
Yeah.
And how do you find a balance between, especially when you were in college, because you were playing so many hours, like 10 hours a day maybe, right?
Yeah.
How did you find a balance between your personal life, your social life, because you were new in another country? How do you make friends when you're practicing so much?
Well, the fortunate thing was that I was living if we start off with the college part, that I was living in the student halls, so it was filled with people in the exact same position as me. You know, of course, you know, some people were from the UK, but like many people were coming from other countries. So a new environment and new people around you. So it was quite easy actually to get friends, because there were so many people in the same life situation. And then, because even though you're practicing a lot, of course you have break in betweens, and you know, everyone has to eat. When you're college, everyone likes to go out, so you know, you're hanging with the people and they live you know, in the rooms next to you. So that was actually quite easy. But then combining sort of like sports and hobbies to that, that's a struggle, especially if you have, you know, those orchestra weeks where you have to be really playing like around the clock. There is no time for anything else. And then for me, like I also need to do sports, like keep my body working. Like if I play, because playing violin, it's a really unergonomic way of having yourself. So if you think that you're like this for 11 hours, you know, your whole body, you know, is aching from everywhere. So those weeks definitely were hard. Nowadays it's quite easy, maybe because, you know, the practice hours have gone down. I can control the hours, I can control when I do what, so then I can have breaks how I need them. Like if I feel that, okay, like my neck is killing me, you know, I'll go to the gym and, you know, work out, so that then I can actually play. Because if I just keep on pushing, then, you know, I won't be playing for 2 weeks because, you know, of the pain.
What is your favorite film ever?
I really love all movies done by Christopher Nolan. I think he's a genius. And otherwise, I'm a big fan of Harry Potter and Star Wars. So
nice.
Yeah, those franchises. But like a specific one, I don't know. Probably would have to be something by Christopher Nolan.
Would you, if you had to put a top 3 Christopher Nolan, which one is gonna be? Yeah, which are the top 3 for you?
Maybe Inception. I think Tenet is quite cool. I'll just, you know, put the whole Batman trilogy there because that's I think that's a really nice.
That's really nice. I love also Christopher Nolan, but I think my favorite one, and it's because it was the first one that I've ever watched from him, was Interstellar.
Oh yeah, I
love all the universe stuff, you know, and I was just so difficult things playing, but made in a way that everyone would understand. And it's just such like emotional film too. I just loved it. It was my favorite one. But Inception is also my top 3.
Yeah, and Inception, or like those movies maybe also because I really love like movie scores by Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
and, you know, so the combination of really good storytelling and like script and then really good music, it's just like, you know, perfect harmony. Yeah,
that's a bit of a difficult question, but Hans Zimmer or Ludovico Einaudi?
Hans Zimmer.
Oh, that was fast.
Well, yeah, because it's just the way Zimmer's music sound is just so much what I really, really like. So yeah, it's a no-brainer for me.
So do you have any announcement that you would like to share with us? Something that you're going to release soon?
Well, hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, I should have my album out.
Oh, so, you're going to have an album?
Yeah, it's been work in progress for many years. I've been asked about it a lot, but yeah, now it's finally like I've already uploaded it to the distributor. So now it's just about getting the licenses taken care of. So hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, fingers crossed, you can go listen to it on Spotify. So
okay, that's wonderful.
The album is called One. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So we are approaching the end of the podcast, and as you know, every guest has to answer a final question, which is, you need to tell us a juicy secret. So what is your juicy secret?
Yeah, it was hard to figure this one out, but one good, or now it's easy to laugh to that story, is that I was playing a gig. It was the time when I had just finished doing the end exams for high school, and I was doing a gig and playing some like a solo partita of Bach, and midway through the song, probably because of all the stress, I just completely black out how the song was going, which felt horrible, and like I was super nervous for many years after that, because I was just so terrified of like forgetting how a song goes, playing by heart. But then
That's such a nightmare for a musician.
Yeah, but then I improvised it. So I did good, like the theme and variations by solo partita for violin. But yeah, that was one. I don't think the audience knew because they were not like classical music followers maybe, but like, yeah, I started off playing a song and then improvised it to the end.
Okay. Were you feeling just like...
I felt like it was physical pain.
Yeah, I can
like,
imagine.
That's the like, and that was problematic for then, especially the first year, because that was when I graduated from high school, and then the next September I started in London. So that was really horrible because I was getting super nervous, like super nervous for a long time, just like thinking that, whoa, what if this happens again to me? And then especially in an environment where everyone's like top of their fields.
Yeah.
That's the secret. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a 7 because the story has good things. It's not the juiciest, but the fact that it has consequences afterwards with you, and like you had to overcome that opportunity, as you call them, it's really good. So there you have a 7 for you.
Thanks. I need to listen to the podcast all them and then listen to the other ones so I can compare as well.
It's fine. Grades are usually between 7 and 9, so okay. It's good. I'm very good at it. Like I'm solid. I won't give anyone a 4, or something like that. So don't worry.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll come back another season and then I'll make up a better.
Secret.
Yeah. You see, I'm really competitive.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today and listening this episode of All the Juice podcast. And it will mean the world to me if you would subscribe, like, and share All the Juice with your loved ones. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see each other again in 2 weeks.